Okay, well, here we go. I thought I would make this little Hangout video because this is one of the questions I get asked all the time, especially when I'm starting out with a new client or a new customer. They ask me, what should I be doing? Should I be doing paid or should I be doing organic traffic? And it's a really, really important question. And it's a very good question and it's important, obviously, because it has an immediate and dramatic effect on every business's bottom line. And it has an immediate and dramatic effect on finding new customers and retaining old customers. So from that perspective, it's incredibly important. It's something that everyone should be focused on at least considering. You have to answer the question at some point in the process: should I be doing paid? Should I be doing organic? Or should I be doing both? So the answer to that question is actually really, really, really simple to get at, and it's deceptively simple. And because it's so simple to get at, people tend to be dismissive about the process of getting to it. So so when we continually ran into this problem, we needed to have a solution to so that our customers and clients could really easily understand how we got there. And in order to understand how we got there, in order to make that process repeatable, that particular methodology we used had to be completely and totally objective. And by objective, what I mean is that, firstly, as I mentioned, it's repeatable. And secondly, it's based on things that you can measure. So if you have an objective process, then it doesn't matter when you come back to that process. If conditions haven't changed, then the answer is going to be the same. And because I have a bit of a math sort of / science background, I thought, okay, well, it needs to be objective and all that. But suddenly it seemed to be incredibly esoteric. So I thought that wasn't the way to go. So again, trying to keep things objective, I went back to basically just deriving a set of questions that served a single purpose. And the single purpose that I deal with all the time is what we're doing, does it affect customer acquisition costs, and does it affect the long-term customer value? So basically, it doesn't matter what you're doing in search or what you're doing in search marketing. That's the single most important metric. It's not how many sales you make. It's not how much traffic you get. It's whether you're actually making money. So you can have millions of dollars worth of sales and make no money. You could have millions of people visiting your website, but doesn't make you any money. So that's the metric that we're always serving. And the big picture is that both paid and organic traffic serve that same master. Fundamentally, we want to get traffic and customers to your doorstep, virtual doorstep or otherwise. And we need to be able to do that in a way that actually makes you money. So when I say digital and when I mean online, I'm not just talking about Google. I'm talking about YouTube and Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and Pinterest and the literally hundreds of other social sites, the hundreds of other document sharing sites. Basically, it's every way, shape, and form that you can create a virtual online presence. And paid and organic traffic both serve that same purpose and both serve that same master. So if they both serve the same master, then which should be using when? So we're right back where we started from. We talked about what it is we're actually trying to do and how we're trying to and what we're trying to achieve. But how do we answer that fundamental question? Should I be using paid traffic? Should I be using organic traffic? Or should I be doing both? Well, here's our Coles Note version of what we do. And I said it's really, really simple. It's deceptively simple. There's actually only 8 questions. And if you answer no to any of these questions, then you're basically done for. So the only answer that you can answer is yes. So this is a 0 or 1 response. It's yes or no. So I'm going to read these questions out to you, and I think this is going to make really good sense to you. So number 1, are your existing sites, pages, and social profiles properly configured and optimized? And if they're not, you shouldn't be doing paid traffic. So if you answer no to this question, then your only choice is organic. And why does it matter if these things are properly configured and optimized? Well, basically, if they're not properly configured and optimized, we're going to be driving traffic to a virtual property that Google doesn't like. So all your paid efforts are going to be in some way impeded by the fact that you're paying for traffic and you're sending it to a page that Google doesn't like. So in AdWords, for example, if Google doesn't like your landing page, then you're going to be paying far more for traffic than you would otherwise. And that goes across every ad network's platform. So if Google doesn't like what you're doing in some way, shape, or form, and it could be your code, it could be your landing page, it could be your redirects, it could be literally tons and tons of things that have to do with on-page optimization, off-page optimization. So if you're not actually properly configured insofar as Google is concerned, because Google is the standard, then you're going to be paying more for your traffic. The traffic is going to be less expensive, and we're not properly serving the purpose, which is to drive customer acquisition costs down. Okay, the second question is, do you know your current customer acquisition costs? Now, if you answer no to that, then there's no way in the world that you should be doing paid traffic. Why? Because you're just throwing money into a big black hole. So you don't. If you can't tell me and you can't show me a metric that says right now we're paying $10 to get a customer, and that's what we need to see, then if you don't know if you can't tell me what that number is, if you don't know that number is $10 hypothetically, then you have no idea of how much money you should be spending on paid traffic. So unless you know your customer acquisition costs, then if the answer to that is no, then organic traffic is the only answer for you. The third question, do you know the current long-term value of a customer? If you don't know that number, if you cannot tell me definitively what that number is, and there's no way you should be doing paid traffic. Why? Because if you don't know what the long-term customer, what your long-term customer value is, then you don't know how much you should be spending to get that customer. So let's say your long-term customer value is $1,000. Well, you can spend up to $1,000 to find that customer, and you will still make money. If you spend $1,000 plus, then you're losing money getting that customer. The idea is that you spend as little money as possible to retain a customer for as long as possible. So if your long-term customer value, say, is $1,000 and it costs you $10 to get a customer, then you should be doing that all day long, every single day. If it's costing you $500 to get a customer, you should be doing that all day long, every single day, because you're still making money. Your return on your investment is 100%. So unless you know what the long-term customer value is, then you have no idea what your return on investment is going to be. So there's no way you should be doing paid traffic. The fourth question, do you have a realistic budget in place to allow for collecting a statistically significant amount of data? Now that means that you have to have, your pockets need to be deep enough that you can buy enough traffic so that you can make a decision based on the results of that traffic purchase that actually means something. Now it depends what market you're in. It depends on the keywords you're going after. It depends on how you're bidding, and where and when and all kinds of things, in order for you to determine whether the amount of data that you've collected is statistically significant. So if your budget is not deep, is not large enough to allow you to collect enough data, then there is no way in the world that you should be doing paid traffic. Why? Because you cannot make an intelligent decision about whether you should be spending more or less, or stopping, or ramping up, or scaling down. You just have no idea. You're basically making an incredibly uninformed decision with your money. So you're literally, figuratively, and absolutely just throwing money away. So if you cannot collect enough, so you have to do some research in your market and in your niche and with your keywords and key phrases to come to some conclusion about what statistically significant is, what that number is. And if you A, can't do those things, or B, don't have a budget big enough to allow you to collect that amount of data, then there's no way you should be doing paid traffic. You're just throwing money away. Okay, now do you have specific outcomes you want measured? That means you have to have some sort of goal in place before you actually start paying for traffic. Why? Is because if you don't know what outcome you want, then again you're just throwing money away, because you don't have any idea as to whether or not that traffic that you're paying for is leading to a desired result. You always have to have some idea of what it is that you want your customer to do, whether it's a conversion, whether it's a purchase, whether it's an opt-in, whether it could be any number of things, but you have to have a defined goal. And if you don't define that goal, then it cannot be measured. And if it cannot be measured, then you're basically throwing money away, because you have to measure your spend against some definite, specific outcome. And it doesn't have to be one outcome; it can be many. But that's still part and parcel of having a specific outcome in mind. And if you don't know what kind of outcome you want, and you can't define that in a very specific way, and you can't define it in a way that can be measured, then you shouldn't be doing paid traffic. And now, question number 6, do you have robust tracking in place? If you answer no to that question, then you're basically throwing money away. What I mean by robust tracking means that you can actually measure and know exactly what it is that you've spent, where that money went, how it got into that particular black hole, and whether or not it produced an outcome that you want. And if you don't have tracking in place, then you have no way of measuring how effective your ad spend is. You have no way of measuring if you're actually achieving a desired or some other outcome. So without tracking, you're basically flushing money literally down the toilet, because you have no idea whether that traffic purchase is going to generate a positive ROI, a negative ROI, should be tweaked, should be turned off. You're just operating completely and totally in the blind. The 7th question: do you have split testing in place? Now, without split testing, at the very least, split testing. If you don't have split testing in place, A or B split testing at the very least, then there's no way you should be doing paid traffic. Why? Because the difference between an incredibly profitable campaign and a campaign that's a complete and total wipeout and loser can be something completely as trivial as the text color you're using in your headline. Now, because sending paid traffic or generating paid traffic is nothing more than a high-tech version of direct response. Anyone who knows anything at all about direct response will tell you that the absolute key, the fundamental key to success is in testing. You need to be able to test across across some fundamental elements of the virtual property that you're sending this traffic to. Now, you don't have to test everything, but there are some tried and true metrics or tried and true places that you should be testing. Now, and they're simple, but you still have to have the ability to conduct these split tests. And if you don't, then you should not be doing paid traffic. Absolutely no way. Now, the last question is: can you analyze the data you're collecting within a 12 to 24-hour window? Which means basically it has to be very close to real time. Why? Because you can virtually blow your ad spend in a matter of hours, depending on the kind of traffic you're looking for, the source, how you set the campaign up. There's basically all kinds of different variables that go into it. So what you want to be able to do is collect that data quickly. You want to be able to make a decision quickly, and you want to be able to tweak that data, and then you want to retest. So if you cannot analyze the data that you're collecting virtually within real time, then there is no way that you should be conducting a paid traffic campaign. So that's it. We use these 8 simple questions to really steer the conversation as to whether or not we should be doing paid or organic or both. Now, I like these questions because it's very simple for the client to visualize and understand where they are and what they might need, and it also makes it very clear to the client what it is that we're bringing to the table. So they see Facebook ads, they see AdWords ads, they hear that their competitors are doing it, and they should be doing it, and they can't get on the first page, so they decide, well, look, there's other people on the first page and they're paying for it, so I'm going to do the same thing. So there's lots of motivation to do it, but in order to do it properly, you have to be able to answer at least those 8 questions. And if they can see, if a client can see those 8 questions in black and white, and they have to answer those questions in one of only 2 ways, yes or no, then it becomes a very, very simple process for them to understand and visualize where it is they need to be, or where it is they need to go. Now, again, to summarize this little video, we can do this again really, really quickly. So you need, if you want to pay for traffic, then you need to be able to collect enough data so that you can accurately determine what your ROI is. You need to be able to do that in a way, you need to be able to collect that traffic and drive that traffic in a way that you can A, track it, and B, tweak it. Now, you have to have deep enough pockets. Now, let me go back here. If Now, sometimes we have had clients in the past, we have them now, whose pockets are deep enough that they don't care about a subjective outcome. Think of a Super Bowl ad. Those people are not really interested. People who are paying all that kind of money for a Super Bowl ad are not interested in a return on their investment. They're interested in building a brand, in brand awareness. In some instances, we work closely with customers to create customer avatars or define and discover customer avatars. But these are subjective outcomes. So, and these subjective outcomes are not for the faint of heart, because you will spend money, and you can spend money in great big large bucketfuls. So you're either in the I want an objective outcome, and in that case the 8 questions apply, or you're in the I don't want an objective outcome, I want a subjective outcome. In that case, then the gloves are off. You open up the bank vault, and then you go on a completely different tack. So. In every other circumstance, that I've described, then organic traffic should be your go-to process. It should be the way that you are fundamentally focused on driving traffic to your virtual property. So in this way, you'll drive more leads, you'll get more customers, and ultimately your business bottom line will improve. So I hope this has helped, and check out the other videos that are in this series. There's more to come. Check out my Google Plus page. Go to nextgenseo.com if you want to learn more about what we can do. So I'll see you later. Thanks for watching. Bye.